tal, amiguitos? Bienvenidos a un nuevo episodio de Rock Invasion Entrevistas. Madre mía, la gente que tengo hoy. Estoy contentísima porque tengo a Melissa Moore y a G de Sonja. ¿Sabéis cuánto se ha hablado de este pedazo de disco? Así que para mí es un placer absoluto que se pasen por la nave estos dos musicazos. Hi Melissa, hi G. How are you doing?
Hi. How are you?
Well, it's an honor having you here. I've been talking about this very album, like, I don't know, I think that people are all already bored of me telling them to listen to Loud Arriver. Yeah, I can be very persistent. Um, yeah, so it's a pleasure having you here today, and I'm really, really honored.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Yeah, we are honored.
Okay, I would like to start by discussing a little bit the origins of the band because most of the people think this is a new project, but as far as I know, you had already been, well, maybe not working so seriously on this, but this started maybe in 2014, 15, or something like that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like we had just musical collaborations, but we never started a band together, the two of us. And it was in 2014. I was on a flight from Australia to Philadelphia, a couple connecting flights on the way. And during that flight, I just decided I wanted to call him and we had to start a band together. As soon as I called him, it was like the flight landed. I was still on the plane. I either texted or called him and right away. It's like, absolutely yes. And then there was just no looking back from that point on. And we had other, we had our other bands going at the time. So they had to, we had the bookings for those, but we worked on it pretty intensely from that point on and, took care of the music until we got it to the point of the album.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I remember you got off, actually, I don't know if I've ever said this to you, but I remember you had this manic energy. You were like, we're starting a fucking band. Like, what are you doing tomorrow? We're like, we got to get together. We got to do this. That's cool. Yeah, I felt that way.
Very cool. And then there was a demo that was only on Bandcamp that went a little bit under my radar. And I hadn't discovered, well, I didn't discover it until maybe a couple of months before the album actually came out. So I don't know if this was made on purpose, like, just putting that on Bandcamp, but not being too noisy, like, let's put it there and let people, investigate a little bit. How was that?
I think we made those two songs. We recorded them, and we sort of hoped maybe to do like a 7-inch with it or something like that. But just because of everything else going on in life, we never like got connected with a way to do that. And then there was just a time where people were talking about Sonja, so we just put it up there. There was no release or anything. We just put it up there. We didn't really think about it. Just because people were talking about the band, it was like, oh, we have songs, we better put them up. That's the only thing we did with that. So that's actually how, like, our label that put out Loud Arriver, they heard those songs just somehow. So yeah, we just put them up there without we didn't even like do anything with it. So it was just a reference in case people needed to hear what Sonja sounded like. We didn't like send it to a label, or we didn't like, yeah, we were just like, hey, here's a band. There was no really anything. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Well, I have to say that Enrico, the guy from Cruz del Sur, is like, in in the movies, of course, in the American high schools, there's this guy that's always looking for the best sportsman. Well, I think that Enrico is like that kind of guy, but with bands. I don't know how he does it, but he's always discovering like the finest in heavy metal and then releasing it. It's great.
He's been cool. Yeah, he's been cool. He's been totally cool the whole time. Easy communication. Just awesome. Just, real heavy metal stuff,
Exactly. Exactly. So, well, today it's almost Halloween, so let's say that the album has been out for a couple of months or something like that, month and a
Yeah.
half, because it came out in, I think it
Yeah.
was on September 23rd, right?
September 23rd was the physical release date. It was actually out a week prior to that digitally.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, now that you said digital, well, prior to me having the album on CD and on vinyl, I got a digital promo. I already fell in love with the album with that digital promo, but when you listen to it, the way it's supposed to be heard, which is physical, sorry,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
that, it has
Yeah.
nothing to do. It has nothing to do at all. It's so huge. Even if you don't have like the best stereo ever, like the best system, still, it's so amazing. The vocals, the music, everything. I don't know what you guys did in the studio. You will tell me about this later, but I don't know. It's I can't even put into words this sound. I said, prior to starting recording this interview, I said that the vocals are haunting, but it's not just the vocals. It's like the whole package is so complete, and everything is so well done, so well structured. Loads and loads of small details. I would like you to talk a little bit first about the songwriting process and then about the work at the studio.
Absolutely. So every single detail of every note and every drum hit and every moment thought was put into and analyzed. Not analyzed, like we knew where it was supposed to be. We knew what it was supposed to sound like, and it was just every single piece. We did whatever it took to get there, even if that meant another mix or another sound or something like that, or that reverb is off, we need a different reverb or that kind of thing. Like the volume needs to come down by 1.5. Like just every single layer and part of it was like that. We actually tracked our music. I know I'm going backwards. I'm talking about the recording versus the songwriting, but that's what's fresh in my head. We recorded the music with Dan Kishbaugh. We did the drums, we did the guitar, and we did the bass. And then Arthur did the vocals with him. And then we went back with Dan. We took the vocals on top of the stuff with Dan, and we did a mix where everything was set up like as a template, sort of, that we eventually brought to Arthur. So it was really back and forth, and there were so many instructions that we gave to get it to the sound that we wanted. Just the pages of notes that we had on every song and just details, and it's
detail maniacs.
And we would get a mix back like, great, here's these 3 things. Also, I need more on this, and here's some more notes. It was a very intensive process from a recording standpoint. From a songwriting standpoint, I don't know. I mean, I guess the songs being around for so long.
Yeah, these are old songs.
Well, a lot of them are.
A lot of them are old songs.
Some of them are a little bit newer. But from a songwriting standpoint, it's sort of like having played in a million different bands, which we both have. I feel like with Sonja, and probably with CrossFitter too, just our whole, it's like we're not just trying to play something that sounds good. We play it, and it's like, is this doing to me, and is this doing from the song what I need it to do or what it's supposed to do? It's like we've been playing music for a long time, so anything that we actually physically play is probably going to sound fine, but like, what is it going to do? How's it going to rip into your brain, rip into the veil of like magic and pull something out? So that's kind of the quest that we're on, to find that. So we take our time and do whatever it is to get ourselves there and get something to bring back, and sort of not just from a sound standpoint, but from an energy standpoint. That's very much what we do, and sometimes maybe in an unorthodox way to find that piece. And it's a matter of what we leave out of the song as well too. So it's like, even though it sounds like maybe there's a million different parts in one song, in my mind, that's like one heart that we've just done a million different things with.
We would spend months on like a 5-second transition. We tried this way, we tried that way, just to get into the DNA of what we're trying to do. You know, it really was a long process. Really was.
Another thing I've noticed too with our songwriting is it's like a lot of times, like right away, from the first time we play something, it sounds perfect. It's not a complete song, but it sounds good. And it's like, okay, this is something special. How do we not ruin this? We need to expand this and turn it into a full song and give pieces to it, but not hurt the magic that's already there by adding something that takes away from it. So that is like what we leave out is so important to us as well too.
What we leave out. Yeah, good point. Not just what we put in, but what we take out of it.
That's from the musical standpoint. From the lyrical standpoint, that's just whatever it takes to get there. Sometimes, you know, the lyrics come first and it's like we're writing a song around these lyrics. Sometimes the full song is written and I'm like, you'll see me after I leave the studio and you'll hear the lyrics. Like it's just whatever it takes. But the same sort of thing is not accepting anything that isn't really like igniting something inside the rock and roll spirit, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Wanting Me Dead actually was the song Wanting Me Dead. That was on lyrics.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember coming to practice and I said, okay, I wrote lyrics for this song. I know how the vocals are going to go. This is the basic chord progression. Now we all need to write this song together. And I think G and Ben were like, okay. And like, they're like,
that song was hard.
They're like, is this going to work? I'm like, trust me, I know where it's going to get. Like, we're good at making music. We already have the magic, which is the vocals and the lyrics. All we have to do is fill it in. So it was like kind of, the starting point is different, but like it just has to end up at the same spot always.
Mm-hmm. That's a great song, by the way, Wanting Me Dead. It's great. Well, you have said a very precise word, which is magic, and that's something that could define, well, I don't know if define is the right word, but if I had to explain what I feel when listening to Sonja, because I think this is not just a band. I feel like it's more powerful than a band. It's something that goes beyond the concept of a band. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's the feeling that I have. It's like, well, of course, the music and the band, but I have the feeling that it's like an entity that's, you know, so powerful and so magical. So yeah, magic would be a perfect word to, at least for me, to explain what I feel when listening to the record and when diving into it. And yeah, I don't know how many times. I was going to say a number like that, but I don't even know. I've lost track of how many times I've spun it, so whatever.
Same. I've listened to it a lot of times.
Well, I mean, that's great that you're saying that, and that's how we treat it. It's like, it's sort of this thing that we are the sentinels that are put here to uphold to us. It's not, I mean, it is us, but it's also, we have no control over it. We serve it.
Yeah.
It's this beast or entity or goddess or god or whatever that we feed, and we exist at its pleasure or behest. We can't control it. It's something that we just, it's almost like the sun that we pay tribute to or something like that. So that's how we view it. We take ourselves out of it to just make it its own thing in a way.
There's zero ego when we are playing this or writing it or trying to make it happen. There's zero ego, and it has, like you said, it's like this thing that we are working for. We don't have control over it or influence over it. It is an influence on us. And it's nice to be aligned on that with people capable of creating what needs to be created in its service. Yeah, essentially.
Yeah. But it's fucking amazing that, you know, that very same concept is something that has come to me through listening. It's
that's actually special. That's very special.
Yeah, like right now I'm a
Great
little
question.
bit like
Put that out.
shocked.
Cool. Cool.
Great. This is a question that if I sometimes I tend to think, what would I do if I were these people? How would I do this? When it comes to ordering the songs and deciding, well, when the candle burns low is going to be the first one, then we're going to put this, blah, blah, blah. How did you decide the order for the songs? Because I think that's very tricky and it's not easy, to structure an album in order to, for the listening experience and everything to be perfect. Wow, I think that must be tricky. How did you do that?
We tried so many different orders, of course, and the amount of times that we listened to rough versions and final versions just to really feel that. It was sort of the same process as songwriting and mixing and everything, where it's just like you have to be honest with yourself and take everything out of it and really understand what's going to work. I can say some guideposts to me for the song order. I thought Nylon Nights was a good second song because it reminded me of the song Midnight Mover by Accept from the album Metal Heart. I'm like, I wanted to function the way that Midnight Mover functions on that album. So that was an obvious one. Nylon Nights being the second track. The first track, that was not as obvious. That was the biggest decision to make. The opener is such a big thing. And to have something where it's quiet for, I don't know, almost like a minute before it kicks in, it's like that's high risk, but this song does set a tone that I think is appropriate. We also have sort of on this album, we have like sort of a blend of these like esoteric lyrical songs versus these more direct songs. And I felt like When the Candle Burns Low was more of the esoteric style, and then Nylon Nights was more of the direct style. So it was good to show both 1 and 2, and then it gave us the freedom to go wherever after that.
Was there ever a different opener? I don't remember a different set.
I mean, we thought about the song Loud Arriver as the first song, but that one I feel like is so different from the other tracks that it didn't set the right tone as the first song. I even thought Fuck Then Die would be a good opener, but I actually still think that it's the opener to side B on the vinyl, but I like where it is right now.
It's an opener on the other side.
Yeah. I mean, Nylon Nights being the first single could be an opener, but it's like, okay. Like all these things that we're talking about now, like we thought about this thoroughly when we did it. And it's like, well, I like 1 through 6, but let's switch 7 and 8. Like every option was explored to see what actually would work.
Maniac.
Just thinking about, with albums in the past, like how they flowed and how we liked it. And it's like, I hate when an album does this and then they put a song like this here. Like, how do we keep the energy going? And for us, I mean, we've listened to it 1,000 times, but every time it's over, I'm like, I feel like I want to just start it over again. That's a good sign. I think we got a good order. That's kind of what it's like. I think that's it. That was kind of the determining factor.
Great. Well, you said that when you were speaking about When the Candle Burns Low, it takes a while for the song to kick in, but well, when it kicks in, boy, does it kick in. What? I was screaming. Seriously, like the very first time, the first time that I was exposed to the digital promo, I knew nothing at all. I didn't know what to expect. Well, I saw that the 2 songs of the demo were there, but nothing else. So
did you know the demo before the album?
I discovered it like 2 months prior.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that came a little bit late for me, but just in time. Let's say it was just in time. And yeah, I remember hitting the play button, and I was screaming, like seriously, when the song finally kicks in, it's like, what? Those drums are insane. Well, in general, the drums during the whole record are insane. It's like, again, lots of details, lots of different things that, keep you figuring out, wow, look what they did there, and there, and it's amazing. It's great. Of course, I would like to ask you, Melissa, because, well, you've been through a process And as a trans woman, I would like you to tell me if you feel like your art right now is being, seen by the people in a different way. Because you are a woman, and we know this heavy metal little world can be, yeah, pretty tricky when it comes to being a woman. Like, well, I'm I have to say that I'm pretty lucky because, I've had maybe just a little problem, but nothing more than that. Like, people respect what I do, and that's a blessing, I have to say. But being a woman, do you feel like maybe your art is going to be seen in a different way, or not at all?
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly a reality, but I think my mentality and I just kind of come out with such a, like, I don't know, a musical fury, and I'm not afraid to say that, like fury and just intensity that, like, I challenge anybody to bring the same level of just like potency as a guitarist on stage, songwriter. It's like those existing, biases that people may have. I'm aware of them, and my mentality is just to be so undeniable, which is how I'd be anyway, no matter what. But so that, like, you're clearly false, you're false rock and roll, you're false metal, you're not, like, you're just finding a reason to be negative rather than like acknowledging the reality of the real rock and roll shit that's happening in front of you. That's really it. I mean, like, in a way, that's sort of a fire. That's sort of a just extra. Like, I joke with bandmates sometimes, and I'm like, like from the Conan the Barbarian movie, I'm like, sometimes I thank Crom for endless enemies to keep my sword just wet with blood. Like, so it just keeps me sharp, I guess, is one of the things about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I haven't really encountered, besides, well, I guess I have encountered negativity due to my gender, but since Sonja's existence, I have not encountered negativity. We have not been on tour with Sonja yet. We've done some things, but we haven't done everything, so we'll see how that plays out. But so far, I have not felt that anything has been like a problem for me in that way, if that's kind of what you're asking. But like, being aware of what's going on in the world, like, I know that I look around at these guys playing and it's like, okay, you have it easy. Let me show you how it's really done now. That's kind of how I think.
Yeah. Well,
feels good.
Yeah, no, but I really think it's so important, speaking up, and it's just about, living your life and doing your thing. I don't know. I sometimes I try to, put myself in other people's shoes and try to imagine how would I, well, I don't think, to begin with, I don't think I would be able to live not being able to, express myself and being the person that I am. So
but this whole world is constantly not allowing us to do that. Like, the world will give you nothing. You have to, like, it's just you. It's like, how does your impulse of life transcend all of this? It's like this dark sorcery that keeps you down. Like, how do you burst through that? And that's what rock and roll is. That's what living is. That's what, we use the term rock and roll or heavy metal about a lot of things. It's not music. It's about the impulse of life, essentially.
Write that down. Sure, that's translated into Spanish,
That's great.
Impulse of life. Yeah, I know.
That's great. Well, yeah, I'm getting a lot of great quotes today, I have to say. Like, you're delivering like, wow, great.
It's not us. It's rock and roll.
We just serve rock and
Yeah,
roll.
you're not interviewing us.
She speaks through us.
Yeah,
that's all.
I'm not talking. Rock and roll speaking through me.
Very nice. Well, of course, coming back to the music, coming back to the album, I think that's the very first time that you take the vocal duties, Melissa.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So vocals are not my. It's interesting because it's like a lifetime of drumming for him, a lifetime of guitar for me, a lifetime of bass for Ben. So we have a lot of just pre-existing skill on those instruments. But vocals, though I have a musical mind, it's not an instrument that I had, up to the level of everything else. So it's like, it's a lot of work for me to be able to deliver anything with it. But I think it's very obvious that it needs to be me doing the vocals because, I don't know, I remember hearing somebody saying like it doesn't matter if you're like just sing. Like singing is like this human thing. So just like find your way to do it. And I want to do it good because I like a certain sound, but it's something I've taken upon myself because it's like I have to do it, but I've never done it before. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the result is amazing. So, okay. I would like to talk a little bit too about the album cover, which is everything is original in this band. I have to say, like, there is nothing that you could come and say, this is not so original, but the rest is. No. Even the album cover is special. What can you tell me about this picture?
We took that in a motel nearby during our band photo shoot. We had a great photographer who did that great, like, just ethereal. She did a chemical treatment on the photo to make it look like that. She's amazing. We wanted to, it's based off of the lyrics for the song Nylon Nights, and we wanted to, we didn't take that photo thinking, oh, that's the album cover. We were just doing a photo shoot of like cool stuff. And it was like, when we were trying to think, like, is there something here we can make into an album cover? Because, this is kind of a unique concept, but it's very true to us and our lyrics and our vibe and that kind of thing. So how do we express that? And it wasn't obvious right away that photo was going to be it. Like, it's a bigger photo, but like zooming in and just trying to think about it different ways and formatting it a certain way is kind of how we ended up getting there. I mean, it has the guitar, it has, the vibe. Yeah. It has the vibe. Yeah. Exactly. I remember we were driving around actually together talking about doing a photo shoot. And it wasn't even for the album. Actually, I don't remember. No, it's for the album. We were just going to do, I don't know, a band shoot, but it wasn't for the album cover. No, we just needed band photos in general. Totally. Mm-hmm. It's like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to make this like just any old photo shoot isn't going to do it. We can't just be a band taking photos. And I think we were driving near that area and I was telling you a story and you're like, let's go there. And we have to go there. Yeah. We have to go there. We have to go into that same hotel, Yeah, we looked at the two motels across the street from each other, like, which one has the right energy for this? It's like, this one is it. Yeah. Cool.
Very cool. I think she's the same photographer that you've been working with Crosspeter too. Is that right?
Yeah. Stephanie Slate. She's a fucking Philadelphia legend.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Mm-hmm. Well, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. Yeah. And for the layout, I think you have worked with Annick Giroux. Yes. Well, I love the way she does all of these layout things. I haven't seen any record where she has been working for the layout that I didn't like. She's amazing. She's fantastic. Great. Mm-hmm.
She actually, we didn't really give her too much direction. She just knew what to do. Yeah, one thing I really liked about how the layout came together is it feels to me like it has this sort of, how these like late 90s European underground band layouts felt, and she was just in touch with that. I don't even know if we directly communicated that, but that's like what comes across to me, and that's where it's like it clicked so much to like it's very present and modern, but also like that feels also to be a part of it for me, which I really liked about the final result on the layout.
I think only she could do it. Like she really understood. She understood the music, and she also understands metal in general, yeah, of course. So it was important. She had to do it. Nobody else could do it.
Well, she's a great artist. Like, well, and she has her band and everything. Like, pretty much everything that she does is good too. Yeah, great. Then I would like to talk about something that maybe, I don't know for the rest of the people, but for me as a guitar player, well, amateur, I have to say. I'm not a pro. I'll never be a pro, but sometimes I just like to, jam a little bit and this and that. And of course, when you play a certain instrument, you tend to, think a lot about that instrument in the record that you're listening to. And there's a lot of small details, like this legato that I said before in the last part of Loud Arriver. It's like it's a tiny thing, but it's so huge at the same time. It's like the cherry on top. I don't know if you get what I mean. Like, you're totally into the song, and when you think, well, that's it, that's the song, it's coming to the end, and this and that, boom, that legato. It's like, it cannot get better, and then it does. So, all of those small details, well, you said at least twice that you are a little bit of detail freaks, like you're obsessed by that. And yeah, being on the listener's side, you can tell that everything was, very well thought and very well structured and organized, and even those small details are like, wow, damn.
So that guitar part. We had finished tracking the music, essentially, besides the few synth parts, which are very minimal. But we knew, like, the end of Loud Arriver needed something, and actually there was another riff in the song Nylon Night that, like, he said, like, you need to do some sort of, like, lead harmony on this part. Like, just from listening, I'm like, you're crazy. Like, it's done. The music is done.
We were done for, like, half a year, maybe.
Yeah.
We were done for the album was done for a long time.
Like, stop adding extra things. We're trying to get progress here. We don't need to go back in another recording guitar day. But it was just like, I forget why we went back in, but we did go back in. And it's like, all right, I got something. Like, tell me what you want me to do on this part for the Nylon Nights thing. And, I came up with it, and it was like, I was like, I'm so glad we're in here. This is the best part. And with the Loud Arriver thing, I think I had the general idea for it, but definitely part of it developed just sitting in like something like this, and like, I'm just tapping the strings. I probably tried a right hand like tap, but then I'm like, let me do it this way. And it was like, how about we like kind of fade it in, and like, everyone kind of understood where I was going with it. Very simple, very basic. Like, that's the thing with a lot of the way that Sonja has songs. Like, in my mind, it's very simple. It's ultra simplicity. We're trying to do it as simple as possible, but effectively. And for a part like that, it's simple. It's not easy, but it's simple kind of thing. So that, I think, was the last guitar part that we did on the album.
That's true.
It was like, well, that really added a lot. Cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Because we don't like guitar solos. Like, it's just not something we like in music. It's not, it almost seems like a guitar solo, but it's like right at the edge of being a guitar. It is sort of, but it's not like it's the closest to it. It's like, I don't mind guitar solos. I just don't like ones that are showing off your ability to play. I don't care if you can play. Like,
perfectly.
You're not Jimi Hendrix. I don't care.
Anyone can play.
I want to hear good music. So if it's like
life.
If there's a solo that's good music, I want to hear it, but I don't care about hearing. And some people will say, oh, that's just an expression of emotion for the guitarist. And it's like, that's great. I express it differently though. So there's not going to be a lot of solos and stuff, but that was like the closest we got to one, I would say.
Well, and I haven't said anything about the riffs. The riffs in this
Holy
album.
shit.
What the hell? Like, what do you have for breakfast? Like, I know you wake up and you're having a cup of coffee and woo, here's the riff.
Well, that's sort of like that question you were saying earlier. Like, do I worry about like dealing with like, being a woman in metal and that kind of thing? Like, because there is like this like pre-existing like sort of bias, but it's like nobody's got the same riff. So like I don't mind saying that. I don't feel like I'm being like arrogant or anything to say. It's just like, let me see your riffs. Like, you don't have them. I have them. Like, I'm lucky. I have riffs like forever, endlessly. And you too.
That's great. You said you haven't been on tour yet, but we know already that at least you have one date in Europe. I hope that's the first of many. Let's see.
We hope to be playing quite a bit. That's kind of our mentality here.
So what can you tell people to expect when they go and see you live?
Vibe. It's going to be a vibe.
Honestly, we don't even know until we're there. Like, it's not like we have something planned for it. It's just kind of like when the moment is there, we know we have to deliver for it. So we do whatever we have to do to deliver for the moment. We don't know specifically what that means, but we do. I mean, I think you can tell that we respect heavy metal and we respect rock and roll, and that's what matters to us. So that's going to be presented. I mean, I can't give a specific about it, but
we will respect heavy metal and rock and roll when we hit the stage.
Yeah, it matters to us.
Yeah.
Great. And yet another quote.
Yeah.
Very nice. Well, of course, Sonja is one of your many projects, Melissa. I think you're so versatile as a musician. Like, okay, here in Sonja, it's this strange mix of pretty much everything, because I cannot say, well, this is just heavy metal. There are hints of different genres all put together in this very special mix that's Louder River. But then, of course, you have Crosspeter. That's extreme metal at its finest, I have to say. I'm really looking forward to what's coming next for Crosspeter because, well, there's the demo, but we're hungry for more. And I don't know if this other project, which is really hard for me to pronounce, it's kind of a tongue twister. This Rumpelstiltskin grinder. I don't know. I always say R grinder because like the first word is so hard for me to pronounce. What's going on both sides, on Crosspeter camp and on R grinder camp?
Well, I'll start off with Rumpelstiltskin Grinder. That band was started in the early 2000s. My great friends from that band. That band hasn't done anything like in quite some time. We haven't discussed doing anything recently. Who knows? Something could happen with that, but there's not activity going on right there. Crossfitter and Sonja are sort of the two things that take most of our time, really. So with Crossfitter, in a few days we'll be going to do a festival and a tour date, and we're also finalizing writing first album. So you're talking to us about Crossfitter. We aren't the people of Crossfitter right now, but we can talk about Crossfitter from the outside, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
because it's a different,
completely different energy
that we have to tap into. The interview is going to change if we get it.
Like the
And then Donna Violence will speak out, and okay.
Yeah. Ricky Spitter.
Yeah. It's different. We actually did write a new song for the Crossfitter album last week. The best fucking song we have right now. We have to write one more song, and we're gonna record.
Great.
Yeah, and we kind of go through the same evaluation, in our musical projects, in that we are not trying to impress anybody. We are not trying to show off anything. We're just trying to tap into it, whatever that it is that we want. And, it's different for different projects, but the intensity is the same to get there, for sure. I would say that probably both bands, Sonja and Crossfitter, I would expect, and you can't predict things, I would expect to see both just insanely active at all times. Just it's interesting to have two new bands, but I would say that I would expect to see both, I would almost say equally active as time goes on very soon. Probably, having an album will be big for Crossfitter in terms of activity, but Crossfitter has already done a US tour, a number of festivals, and will be continuing to do that off of a 3-song demo from 2020. So once we have an album, our hunger and desire to spit on every church's door and destroy every single thing about Christianity will only increase, I think.
Okay, great. Well, normally there's a question that I like to ask because I think it's very interesting, and most of the time I get surprises. And well, it's a very simple question. It's about music, of course, and I would like you to recommend something that you have been listening to a lot lately. It doesn't have to be metal, it doesn't have to be rock, it's whatever. It's something that you have been listening to a lot and you think it deserves a recommendation.
Okay. Maybe you should go first.
Okay.
I'm gonna look up my playlist on my phone.
Summerland, Dreamkiller is the album of the fucking year. I actually have
listening to it. Yeah.
I have my phone right here, and I was like, we should listen to Summerland the whole time during this interview, like the whole time. And it's like, maybe the audio's not so good, but big Summerland fan. And Hate Rock from Australia. I don't know if you know this band, Hate Rock, HTRK. Addicted, fantastic vibe. Honestly, all I've been listening to for the last dozens and dozens and dozens of days really has been Summerland and Hate Rock. Two different genres, of course, but awesome, haunting, fantastic music.
Yeah, it's hard for me to just think of like a specific artist to recommend, because the way that I listen to music is just like, sometimes it's an album, sometimes it's a full discography, sometimes it's just one song, and it's so fluctuating. And like most artists in my mind it's impossible for an artist to have a full discography of great music over a long period of time. I feel like most artists have like great legendary artists usually have 3 great albums in them. That's sort of what it looks like to me. And I think that's not just for music. I think that's for other media as well. Amazing bands, like transcendent bands, have more in them than 3. But you can just tell when like an artist is kind of making it for the sake of making it. I guess one thing I've been listening to a lot lately is Pink Turns Blue, sort of like a gothic rock band from Germany.
From Germany?
Yeah. Yeah,
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
cool.
they just played too. It was pretty good in Philly. And I was always listening to their first record, but then after seeing them, I was like, the songs that I don't know, I'm enjoying more now. So I was like listening to their later stuff and really taking it. So yeah, I mean, I can't pick a specific thing to recommend. It's just too all over the place for me. But if you bring up a band, I'll tell you what I think of them.
Well, I have to say that I completely agree about Summerlands. Like, that Dreamkiller album just rips. It's insane.
Oh my god,
so good.
It's insane.
Jealous, literally jealous of them.
And I'm so happy to know that Brandon Redigan is singing in such a band right now. It's like, that guy has, I don't know exactly what that is, but the voice is it's so special. It's so special. I don't know if it's the tone. I don't know. He has something.
Good.
It's so unique. And yeah, that's yet another musician that has been involved in a lot of projects and like all of them are good. Like I remember Magic Circle, and when they decided to break up, I was like, no, God. But well, still good news to have him fronting Summerlands right now. Great stuff.
I remember, I think Arthur played us like when he was still mixing it or tracking. He's like, "Hey, check it. Here's like, don't tell anyone. Here's like a real quick like thing. Listen to it." And we're just like, "This is the best thing I've ever heard."
Totally. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
When we were recording the Sonja album in 2019, 2020.
No. It was like when we were mixing.
Okay.
The vocals were done being tracked. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was early days, and it was like the other Summerlands album is already out
for a while,
and he was playing the new stuff, and it was totally like.
Because I remember you played the demos of the first Summerlands to me. You're the first person that like showed it to me. Like, yeah, listen to this band.
Yeah.
And that was like kind of during when Sonja was first starting. So it's like, whoa, in town, like cool person making this.
Another awesome. Philadelphia band.
Yeah.
They got members from all over, but
it's from Philadelphia.
It's a Philly band.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Summerland is a Philly band. I'm not in the band, but I'm speaking for them. They're a Philly band. Yeah, it was cool that there was another band doing this, and we hope to play 1,000 shows with them.
But they don't play a lot.
But they don't play.
Well, that has to change.
Yeah.
Let's all make them play a lot.
Totally.
Great. Well, I don't know if maybe there is something that I have forgotten or anything that you would like to add or some final words. I don't know.
I would say like, I was always inspired by these extreme statements that like bands I liked would always make. So, I mean, I'm not gonna, in a non-pretentious way, I guess I would like to say, fuck the world, fuck everything, don't expect anything from anywhere, take it, bring it, like you're everything else is bullshit, make it happen yourself,
Legend.
Great.
Legend.
Great. So it was fantastic having you here today, guys. I'm so happy.
You're awesome. Thank you.
Fun. Yeah.
Great. So hopefully see you maybe in Greece in May.
You gotta
Let's
come.
see.
Yeah.